On November 2003, President George W. Bush visited Buckingham Palace. The Royal Guard and the US agents believe they have taken every precaution to ensure the trip runs smoothly. Every branch of British security is involved to protect the president. Every rooftop that might help a sniper is checked. They had told officers to look out for anyone acting suspiciously. And inside the palace there are armed guards. In the evening, the Queen, the US President George W. Bush, and Prime Minister Tony Blair will eat dinner together. The security is at the highest level, except for a minor detail. 2 months before, Ryan Perry, a journalist from Mirror, was able to find a job as a footman after applying to an advert on the official Buckingham Palace website. He provided fake references on his CV, and of course he didn't mention he was a journalist. During these 2 months, no one checked his background, and he could walk freely around the palace taking pictures and serving food. Ryan commented that, had I been a terrorist intent on assassinating the Queen or President George Bush, I could have done so with absolute ease. We have heard about stories how some of the most secure buildings and systems in the world are hacked by exploiting the weakest link in security, which is the human factor. People make mistakes. An employee might have a bad day, they might not be aware of the information they are giving, or maybe they are tired of their job and just don't care anymore. So they might do something they wouldn't normally do. Now, whether you are an aspiring social engineer, business owner, someone concerned about security, or just an individual who's fascinated by this topic, like me, then you might find this guide helpful. Here's why. We are going to cover how to profile people through communication styles, how to not get their attention, a simple way to build rapport and trust, and how social engineers are able to shut down the target's logical brain, temporarily of course. So let's get into it. Disc. People are different. Two people at the same situation might look at it in different ways. As a social engineer, it's crucial for you to understand yourself and others. Because once you do, building rapport and influencing people becomes so much easier. A good framework that comes to help in understanding people is DISC. It shows 4 communication styles. Dominant. People with a more direct communication style are direct, decisive, driven, forceful. Influential. They are outgoing, enthusiastic, optimistic, intuitive, steady, sincere, patient, sympathetic, humble. Conscientious, analytical, private, concise, systematic. D's and I's favor more direct communication styles, while C and S types favor indirect styles. I and S focus more on connecting with people, while D and C types are more focused on task than the people. How to recognize each one? Dominant. The first sign someone is a D is confidence. They maintain a confident body language and speak with certainty even when presenting new ideas. They can quickly size up a situation and determine a course of action. That's why you see them more in managerial positions. Their primary focus is to get results as fast as possible. And they are impatient with people who go on and on with details. So they direct the conversation to the bottom line. The weak point of these is that they come across as overly harsh, pushy, or domineering. Influencers. Eyes are full excitement and life. They build rapport with strangers easily, and within minutes they'll talk with you as if they have known you for years. With their optimism and social skills, eyes are highly persuasive and inspirational. They are future focused and live in the realm of possibility, where everything is exciting and achievable. But sometimes they may seem fake and manipulative. Steady. Just like influencers, they are people oriented, but they often work behind the scenes and prefer to support rather than to lead. They are friendly, compassionate people who patiently listen with empathy. So they build deep and loyal relationships. You see the S types in roles such as nurses, therapists, teachers, etc. But since they stand back so much, they can come across as apathetic and slow. Conscientious. They focus on achieving complete accuracy in everything they do. They constantly question processes and ideas to ensure that things are done properly. They are systematic, detail oriented, and efficient. C types gravitate toward careers such as accountants, researchers, doctors, or pilots. You can immediately identify a conscientious person by their restrained movements. They don't use gestures to communicate their point, their facial expressions will often be unemotional. They listen without interruptions and without giving you clues whether they agree with you. They ask lots of questions to make sure they understand something completely. So don't waste their time with your personal opinions and give them time to decide. Here's the deal. We all exhibit each one of the communication styles, but one style is more pronounced than the others. Understanding what favorable communication style you have will help you become aware of the strengths and weaknesses. And it will also help you adapt to people's preferred style. For example, if you're an influencer, you might find it difficult to build rapport with a conscientious person. You might even find them boring because you are talkative and you express your emotions while they are reserved and favor logic over emotions. It will take lots of practice to become like a chameleon, able to adapt to any kind of style without even thinking about it, to become unconsciously competent in this. RCA is a brain area responsible for arousal, focused attention, and motivation. You know, brain loves to save energy. Once you do a task several times, like driving the car, pumping gas, typing on your computer, you will learn to do it unconsciously. The brain relies on imprinted memories to complete these tasks without having to consciously process every detail. So every day we do activities on autopilot. And often we miss important details on what's happening around us. An interesting study showed that people failed to see money on the tree over the road they were passing. What does it mean for social engineers? Most employees you will encounter at your social engineering engagement are on autopilot mode. They just do their role at work. If you do something that breaks their autopilot, the RCA will be activated and they will pay attention. They will become curious and ask questions. Now, how can you make yourself fit into their reality? When you're creating a pretext, it's not just playing a role. You need to become that person. Every single detail about your character and environment matters. The clothing, body language, the way your character walks and talks, the backstory. Does it make sense to carry a magazine, newspaper, or a briefcase? And it's important to avoid wearing a necklace, cross, ring, or have a tattoo because those things draw people's attention. Next, when you're trying to build a rapport with a target, use pieces of information from your own life because it can help you tap into those emotions and make yourself seem genuine. For example, if you're trying to build a rapport with a target that has a daughter, don't say you also have a daughter, but you might have a niece, so use that information. Get people to open up. People love to talk about themselves. On average, they spend 60% of conversations talking about themselves. And this number goes to 80% when they communicate via social media. There is a simple explanation behind this. It makes them feel great. According to research by Harvard University, when people revealed personal information to others, there was activation in the mesolimbic dopamine system. It is the same area in the brain that becomes active when we receive food, sex, or money. But there is more. In another study, people were willing to accept 17% less money just to talk about themselves. Bottom line, if they don't talk about themselves, their brain is not going to reward them. Amygdala. Amygdala is a brain area that plays an important role in processing fear and other emotions. When we feel threatened, the information bypasses the logic and goes straight to amygdala, which triggers fear and we take action. This quick response to threat has been crucial for our survival. When our ancestors saw a 200-kilogram tiger, they didn't think, "Oh, what a magnificent creature," but they ran as fast as they could. This process is called amygdala hijacking. The adrenaline and blood pressure rise, we lose the ability to communicate effectively, and autopilot is in charge. The best part? You can use this process to your advantage. If you can trigger a strong emotional response to the target, like fear or empathy, you can dramatically reduce their ability to think logically. Now, I will give you two examples of amygdala hijacking. First is by using fear. A lot of theft happens in people's lockers in the gym. A social engineer might break the lock and take the wallet. The wallet is missing, but he or she might think it's in the car. As they are walking out, the social engineer who stole the wallet is there and they ring their phone. He might say, "This is X bank and we have reason to believe someone is trying to cash out your account. Has your card been stolen recently?" The person is in a panic mode and is trying to find a solution. Then the social engineer says, "Hey, we are here to help you, but to shut access to the account I'm going to need to verify your social security number." And then he will say, "Okay, we can shut down the card too. What is your PIN?" It might sound obvious in retrospect, but when you are in panic mode, you might not give it a second thought. The other method to trigger amygdala hijacking is by using empathy. If you can find a story that triggers an empathetic response, the target is more likely to comply with your request. A perfect example is this video where the journalist Kevin Rose went to DEF CON and challenged a team of hackers to hack him. Now, let's see the part where the social engineer called Jessica calls his phone service provider with the goal of getting his email address. After she spoofs his number, she sets the scene.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my,
As we said, every detail matters. The crying baby on the background, apologizing for the noise. Let's stop here for a moment. She communicates two things. First, it makes pretext more believable, and second, she shows respect towards the customer support agent. I mean, how many customers are very polite with support? I'm guessing not a lot.
my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So
Here she induces empathy and a sense of urgency.
I'm trying to log into our account for usage information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and, can you help me? Awesome.
And now we have the request mixed with more empathy. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like because it helps this video grow faster, and subscribe because I will post more helpful videos. See you next time.